Hello everyone. Today we're going to animate this Illustrator file in Photoshop. So this is really simple, the jazz concert poster layout design done in Illustrator, and then we're going to export it as the movie file, the video file. So watch this. Same layout. Isn't it cool? Again, play. Okay, so we're going to export your Illustrator file to Photoshop, and from Photoshop as a video file. So please subscribe my channel, hit the like button, and set the alarm for my latest video so you don't miss my latest video. Then let's get started. Okay, so first please download this file. I made a link to this file so you can download it. So this is a kind of a jazz poster, jazz concert poster design. And then, so the size of this document is the 600 pixel by 600 pixel. So we're going to create a new Photoshop document, the size of a 600 pixels by 600 pixel, and white background. Okay, so I'm going to move all the elements from the Illustrator to this Photoshop file. So in Illustrator, first I need to have some kind of a plan. So let me show you this one first. So jazz, this red letter. So let me copy this, edit, and copy. And in Photoshop, this new document, edit, and paste it as pixels. Okay, and then let me locate it on top and return. Okay, and back to Illustrator. This time let me choose my the concert, these big black letters, edit, copy, and Photoshop, and paste it. Okay, and let me locate it there and hit the return. So as you can see, each copied and pasted element goes to the new layers. So I will do everything from Illustrator to Photoshop, and let me just fast forward it so we can save some time. Okay, so I moved everything to Photoshop, and then as you can see on my layers panel, I named each layer so I can tell which layer has which object, which element. Okay, so now once you have this, now go to Windows menu, open Timeline. In the Timeline panel, we have two choices, create video timeline or create frame animation. Choose the first one, video timeline, and click on this button. Okay, so we have timeline. Basically, the Photoshop will assign you the 5-second animation, so 5 seconds should be enough. I want to see everything, so let me do this. Move it up. Oh, there are so many layers. Okay. Double click your hands tool so it fits to window. So first, let's start there from the jazz. So what I'm gonna do is, let me scroll down. So jazz. There are 3 elements, position, opacity, and the style. I'm gonna change the position and the opacity first. So first the position. So make sure your playhead is at the very beginning. So click on this stopwatch to insert the first keyframe. You see the yellow diamond. And then I'm going to move my playhead to a 1 second mark. There. Insert the second keyframe. Okay. So now, move back there. You rewind it to the very beginning. I'm going to move my jazz, this text, not too much, just a little bit. About that much. So let me play it. See? It is doing like this. Jazz. Okay. Also, I want to change the opacity value like a fading in. So at the very beginning, let me insert my opacity keyframe by clicking on the stopwatch. And on 1 second mark, there, second keyframe by clicking here. Back to the beginning, select your first keyframe. In your layers panel, the jazz layer is active. I'm going to change the opacity value down to 0. So from 0 to 100. So it is moving and fading in. So I'm done with this jazz. Next one, concert. I'll repeat the same step from a different direction. So this time, at the very beginning, let me choose my insert the first keyframe for the position by clicking the stopwatch. There. And move your playhead to the 1 second mark. And second keyframe. Okay. And I'm back to the beginning, highlighting my first keyframe. I'm going to move this down. Maybe like that. About that much. Oop, not too much. Okay. And then, also, I want to change the opacity value as well. At the beginning. And 1 second mark. Second keyframe. Back to the beginning. Select the first keyframe of your opacity keyframe. Then change your opacity value down to 0. So it is fading in and moving up. Okay, now red bar. Do the same thing. At the very beginning, let me insert a position keyframe and then 1 second mark, second keyframe. Now I'm back to the beginning, highlight the first keyframe. I'm going to move this red bar like that. Maybe not too much. So just like this. Okay. Also, let me insert the opacity keyframe at the very beginning and move your playhead to 1 second mark, second keyframe. I'm going to move back to the very beginning, highlight the first keyframe of the opacity layer, and then let me change the opacity value down to 0. So far, this is happening. Okay. So my plan is, once those three big things, the jazz, concert, and the red bar for the structure, once it's settled down like this, and then now I want to have the other elements. Okay, so next one is the slogan, which is this one, the best music, evolution, and soul. So what I want to do is, I will do the kind of same thing, but I want to start this text after 1 second mark. So place your mouse cursor at the beginning of this segment, keep pressing, and drag it. So at the very beginning, we don't see that, the slogan. So from here, position. And I'm going to make it a little bit quicker, just maybe a 10 frame second. So it comes pretty quick. So I want to move it to there. Maybe there. Like that. Oh, opposite, sorry. 10 frame second, insert the keyframe. Now back to the beginning. The first keyframe of this, the slogan layer. Then I'm gonna move it to the right. Not too much. So it is coming in like that. And let me change the opacity value at the beginning, the first keyframe. Opacity value and 10 frames second. Second keyframe, moving back, highlight the first keyframe of opacity and change the opacity value of the layer down to 0. So watch this. See? Okay, so my slogan is done. and then when and where. Same thing. This layer, I want to start from there, from the 1 second mark. Okay, so now position and 10 frames second there. Second keyframe. Now I'm selecting my first keyframe of a position, and then let me move it to, I don't know, maybe highlight that when and where. Oh no, here's kind of, yeah, okay, maybe somewhere like that, from opposite direction. Now, so it is coming in like that. Okay, so now on the first keyframe 1 second mark, let me insert my first keyframe for the opacity value and 10 frames second. Second keyframe for opacity value and rewind it. Select the first keyframe of opacity, and then I'm going to change the opacity value down to 0. Like that. Okay. Now, next, special performances, that thing. I'll repeat the same thing. I want to have this from there, and then changing the position first, 10 frames second, second keyframe. So we're kind of repeating this. It's kind of the same routine. So first keyframe of the position, I'm going to move the letter special performances somewhere like that. Okay, it's coming in like that. And then also opacity value and 10 frames second opacity, and the first keyframe of my opacity layer and opacity value down to 0. So it is moving in and fading in at the same time. You can change the direction. Okay. So now I have the call number, the reservation thing. So from here, I want to have that after this, 3 things. So I want to move the beginning point somewhere there. So it's going to show up a little later. Okay. So same thing. Drop down menu, position, and on 2 second mark, second keyframe at the beginning, reservation call, and these things. I want to, it is kind of hard to pick. Let me zoom in a little bit. It's gonna be easier. No. Or let me choose that call. These things. Let me use my the arrow arrow button on my keyboard. Call position here. See? I'm gonna move it like that. And two-second mark, second keyframe, I'm gonna move it to there, like that. So it is coming in like that. Okay, and then also let me change the opacity value, and 2-second mark, opacity value, and the first keyframe of my opacity layer down to 0. So it is moving in and fading in at the same time. All right, so we're getting in there. And the URL from the same point here, position first. Make sure that at the very beginning, first keyframe for the position on 2-second mark, second keyframe for the position, and at the beginning, I want to move that URL thing to there. Maybe not too much. Okay. And then also opacity value, first keyframe on 2-second mark, second keyframe on the first keyframe, again highlight it, change the opacity value down to 0. Okay. Now, musicians. I want to have their name after that. So I'm starting from 2-second mark from there. So let me place it. Now, position. And 10 frame second, second keyframe. On the first keyframe here, I'm going to move their name to there. Yep. So they are kind of coming in. Okay. Now, on 2-second mark, first keyframe for my opacity value. After 10 frame second, second keyframe. And back to the beginning of the first keyframe. Highlight the keyframe, change the opacity value down to 0. So this happens. And then one thing left. So watch the let's watch what we have so far. Okay, that's pretty cool. The last thing is I want to have this $30, the admission fees. The money is important. People will want to know how much it is. So I'm going to have that after the musicians' names came. And this time I want to have a little bit different thing because the money is, I want to emphasize it more. So select the layer. This time, hold down the control key or right click on that layer, the very last one, the $30 thing. I'm going to choose convert to smart object. We're going to have a little bit different options. Watch. See that? We see the transform. So what I'm going to do is, first, I'm going to insert the first transform layer. I mean the keyframe at the very beginning. And then 10 frame second, after 10 frame second, second keyframe. Now, here, first keyframe, let's change something. Under edit menu, try the free transform on the first keyframe. Let me make it, hold down the option and make it a little bit bigger. And also I want to rotate it. Maybe like that. 180 degree. Hit the return. See? This happens. Also, on the first keyframe, I want to change the opacity value. Second keyframe. And back to the beginning. First keyframe. On that keyframe, let me change the opacity value down to 0. So it is gonna be fading in, rotating, and scaling down. Okay, so let me rewind. Let me play it. See? So it is a really simple animation. All right. Okay. So think I'm done. Then now, let me save it first. Save as. I'm gonna save as the jazz.psd for my reference, and then let me go to File, Export, Render Video. Jazz MP4, my folder is gonna be my folder, and then I'm gonna use Adobe Media Encoder, so make sure your Adobe Media Encoder is open. And this is a media encoder, so make sure this encoder is open. Then format H.264, preset high quality is good, and the size I'm gonna keep that 600 by 600 pixels, and everything looks okay. Then render. So I think it is done. Let me check my folder. So we have a js.mp4 file. Let me preview it. So animation is much smoother and very sharp and crisp. Again. Okay. So it looks pretty good. So you can upload it SNS site, Instagram, Facebook. The file size is pretty small. It's only a 1.3 megabyte. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you can make any other video clips using Photoshop. Thanks for watching and see you next time.